Patience is a virtue. We're all too familiar with the saying. But as we lie in wait for something as hype as Cyberpunk 2077, it begs the question, is it even worth it? Are we waiting for an open world messiah or an ambitious mess? It may be wise to manage our expectations so that we don't give the game an hour playthrough and jump on our keyboards to rant about how subjectively bad it is. But nearly a decade in the making, we're confident that the game is born of labor and deep thought that has grown through the years. That in itself is a laudable feat, and we haven't even scratched the surface of gameplay. That's where this video comes in, where we discuss the specific reasons why we're hyped and excited for the upcoming open world RPG set in the uncomfortably close future. This is Leo with Ungeek, and here are 7 reasons we're excited for Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 is an upcoming action RPG developed and published by CD Projekt Red. The game is based on a tabletop pen and paper RPG of the same name by Mike Pondsmith, originally released in 1988. Drawing inspiration from sci-fi films and series such as Blade Runner and Ghost in the Shell, this is the first time in a long time we're getting immersed in the world building we thought we'd only be able to watch in theaters. Since Deus Ex. It has also won over hundreds of awards prior to its release, and that's not even on our list. So, let's get into it. Number 1. The wait. Originally planned for an April 2020 release, it was pushed back to September, then November, then December 10th. It's a meme at this point, but at least we're using it to cope with the agonizing wait. While it is true that the development team has undergone crunch, that is, a duration of time devs are made to work extra hours over weeks at a time to hit deadlines, it seems even that isn't enough. Paired with the worldwide pandemic, actually put into perspective, the game isn't being pushed less than a year in total, so maybe it isn't so bad. But that doesn't stop us from wanting it even more. We should have been taking over Night City for months by now. Number 2. The pedigree. CD Projekt Red is mainly known for the Witcher series, so Cyberpunk 2077 is essentially under a microscope to live up to the illustrious reputation. Its pedigree precedes itself, but things are looking more than great since Cyberpunk 2077 has already surpassed The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's pre-orders, which is the company's current magnum opus.
That's what I'm talking about!
With Wild Hunt still being played on today's current generation consoles and PCs, being used as a benchmark for games across different genres because of its meaningful use of the open world and storytelling across hundreds of hours of gameplay, if that game is still on the lips of many a gamer more than half a decade since release, we can expect no less from Cyberpunk 2077. Number 3. Accessibility. Lucky enough to cop a PlayStation 5? Check out our video on the first 5 games to play when you get it, by the way. You'll be able to take the game on a whirl right off the bat. Otherwise, it's still playable on a wild array of consoles such as the rival next-gen Xbox One Series X and S, the current generation PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and the ever-reliable PC Master Race. Be sure to check out the PC configurations to play with the settings that are optimized for you and your device, which based on recently updated posts on the game's website, allows for as far back as an 8GB RAM and GTX 780 or RX 470 device with 3GB of dedicated VRAM for the lowest settings. Of course, if you want ray tracing, which the game boasts on launch, you're gonna need at least 16GB of RAM and RTX 2060 with 6GB of dedicated VRAM at medium. Not only are the technical specs accessible in Cyberpunk 2077, even the way you play the game allows for certain playstyles to be enjoyed, based on your preference. Feel like just going guns a-blazing and lighting up Night City with lead? Go solo. You wanna hack everything and be a pacifist, that is, finish the game without killing anyone, which by the way I hear is legitimately a real way to play the game. If you fancy, then play as the Netrunner. The game can be as action or as RPG as you want it. Which brings us to number 4. The variety of V. Play as a character that you actually want to play as, within the game's system's confines, that is. You can customize V's voice, face, hairstyles, augmentations, clothing, and more.
V, my man, you made it. You blowing up all over the news.
Even V's origins in this rich and immersive world is up to you. Want to start out as an outsider? Begin your game as a nomad from the desert outskirts of Night City. Want to start from the bottom and work your way to the top of this urban jungle? Click Street Kid and arm yourself with wit and firearms, because it's dangerous walking around Night City alone for someone like you. The game lets you express yourself or pursue an entirely ridiculous path for V, based on what you wish, providing unique gameplay and interesting consequences. This lets you plan out additional runs once you finish the game the first time, already open up replayability, and the game isn't even out yet. Number 5. Customizability. We already mentioned cosmetics, which also have stats that affect gameplay by the way, and character origins, but you can also tailor stats such as strength, constitution, intelligence, reflex, tech, and cool. I know, the game's showing its tabletop RPG roots. And in case you change your mind, there are always add-ons to adjust as you play. Augmentations, if you will, which are always in ebb and flow given the cybernetic future setting. Weapon combinations are seemingly endless with a variety of types, attachments, and modules that affect their stats and behavior in-game. Taking a page out of Borderlands' book, the looter-shooter randomly generates weapons in different stats. In Cyberpunk, you can make these weapons and run through the game with a rapid-firing shotgun with chemical damage if you wish. Number 6. The setting. Several times already, we've mentioned Night City.
I love this town, the city of endless opportunity.
And just like in other open-world games, such as the recently released Spider-Man Miles Morales, the city itself is a character altogether. The different districts and the sprawl that is Night City divides the tightly packed setting. City Center, Watson, Westbrook, Haywood, Pacifica, and Santo Domingo. With verticality and indoor locations being a major consideration, the developers have also revealed that the map is relatively smaller than Wild Hunt's world map. They more than made up for this with sheer density of activities and meaningful interactions, offering side quests and street stories for players to bump into as they experience Night City. That, plus the gangs that roam the city, with which you have varying loyalty and hostility towards, and the many factions such as private militaries and the corporate elites, make us excited to get lost in Cyberpunk 2077. Number 7. The story. We'll keep this one short since no one really knows for sure what's going on. The main plot narrative is as elusive as its release date, and we wouldn't have it any other way. What is currently out there is scarce. You start out being left for dead and waking up to Johnny Silverhand, that's Keanu by the way, giving you a pep talk.
Wake the up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
As far as it goes from there, we're all in the dark. And we think that helps the game overall. Might even signal the fact that the story is as malleable as your character and gameplay experience is. We can only speculate at this point. And that's what makes it all the more hype. And there you go. The reasons why we're excited for Cyberpunk 2077, releasing on December 10th, 2020. How about you? Why are you excited for Cyberpunk 2077? Let us know in the comments. And if you're watching this from the future, please send us a copy of the game in the past. We don't care how you do it. Just give us Cyberpunk 2077 right now for the love of Keanu. Click subscribe if you're a samurai fan, and like this video if you wish Keanu called you breathtaking as well. I'm Leo with Ungeek. Thanks for watching.